Hello and welcome to the special 10th anniversary edition of the Pint Sports Podcast. Fellas, good to be here.
Hey mate, how are you?
10, who would have thought we'd get there?
I know. This is
10 weeks in a row. 10 direct weeks, one after the other, hey? And the 10th anniversary is aluminium, I believe. So I don't know if something that. The cans that the beers came out of were aluminium. The tap,
yes,
chrome, probably. Yes. It's chrome. No, Holshy's on a bit of a fitness kick at the moment.
Yeah, only day 2 today.
But he's looking good, isn't he? It's
great,
working already, I think. Another big episode coming at you today. I'm just going to run through a few different topics along the way. We're going to kick off with something that annoyed us a little bit over the weekend watching the NRL, that being the issue of sin bins in the NRL. Holshy, you brought this up on the back of a couple of the sin bins that you saw, which were the 2 games that you watched over the weekend.
Yeah, look, I'm not as big an NRL follower as both of you, but on the weekend I watched the last 3 quarters of the Bronx after I got the boys to bed, and I actually went and donned a Cowboys jersey.
Oh,
I felt a little ill, but we took the boys to a Cowboys game versus the Dragons, and both games, this is just my gut feel, had massive consequences on the back of sin bin calls.
Yep.
The Broncos one, I think you guys would be the best to go through it, but it's obviously around the Pat Carrigan sin bin on what was called, what's it called?
A hip drop.
Hip drop.
It's the newest craze in the NRL. We love it.
Yeah, and then the other one was the other one frustrated me even more because I was live at the game, and the Cowboys player was tackled after a line break and laying on top of the offender. The offender couldn't do anything, and then next second he's in the bin. Cowboys scored 3 tries, and the game literally could have been a tight tussle right till the end. And when you are in front, it changes everything because the way the other team plays and all the rest of it. And before you guys kick into it, the other thing that really pissed me off was there was a really bad error that should not have even led to that 10. So this little chain of events that the ref missed something that was really quite obvious and then also missed the next play, and which led to this 10 in the bin. And it's just like, okay, well, 10 minutes of the 80 minutes decided the match almost.
Yeah, well, in the Broncos game in particular, there was 3 sin bins for the Broncos. So you've got a lot, there's a lot of adversity to deal with. Okay, you lose your captain and your halfback early. That's just an accident that happens. The sin bin to Farnworth, I'd even call that a 50-50. He's technically, I think it's a penalty. There's no problem with that. The sin bin's a very harsh penalty for that. The issue that you probably get is the Carrigan one, by and large, everyone who watches it goes, that's ridiculous.
It is, yeah.
The Cowboys one, the St. George player, is the same. Everyone looks at that and goes, that's ridiculous. So we can't expect perfection from the referees, but they make a mistake that utterly changes the course of the game. In particular, the Dragons game, 3 tries are scored while they're a man down. And you can argue, what would have happened if there was 13 on there? Okay, they might have scored a try. It's very unlikely they score 3 tries.
That's right, yeah.
You're a man down. It's just such a big penalty. I'm jumping around here, but going back to the Broncos game, there's effectively 20 minutes that you're down a man, and 10 of them are through effectively no fault of your own, but a ref error. It's a really big turning point in a lot of games.
I think it's a really good topic that's been raised. I think it's the inconsistency is what I'm finding frustrating. So why are players being sent to the bin?
Yep.
So, okay, the hip drop one, we're looking at trying to outlaw what they consider a dangerous tackle, and that's fine. I don't think a lot of those tackles are hip drops as such.
Not many of them are on purpose.
That's right. When you've got 100... Nelson, Asafa-Solomona, was the one that Pat Carrigan tackled.
Yep.
It's 130 kilos. He moves quick. He's got to get him to ground somehow.
Yep.
The first moment in any tackle in rugby league is shut the ball down. So the first player goes up top, second player goes around the legs to stop the momentum. They're going to fall in different angles and whatever. And in that particular example, I don't think he fell on the legs of...
No.
of the opponent, and he was ruled to be 10 in the bin for what they called was a foul. Okay. I didn't agree with that, but that's fine. But then over the weekend, that same tackle, players weren't sent to the bin for. So it's inconsistent.
Well, the difference is you stay down, clutch at the legs, and that changes it.
And that's exactly the point. So Asafa Solomona played like as if he had a broken leg. They get a penalty and he gets up and kept playing.
Yep.
Whereas a Canberra fan coming at me, I watched Junior Polo make the same tackle and he got penalised, but penalty only, and then the game continues on. He didn't get sent to the bin. I don't think he should have got sent to the bin, but 2 nights before, the same tackle, the player's gone to the bin.
And that's the other thing is you can accept a penalty in almost any circumstance because the refs make mistakes, okay? Yes, I don't like it, but it happens, and that's fine. You know, you might get an inside the 10 call, which you don't agree with, but you move on past that pretty quickly. You can't move on past that 10 in the bin. No. So at what point is a hip drop, you know, is there a grade of hip drop that you look at and go, okay, well, yes, Nelson's injured, he's going to be taken off in an ambulance, but he gets up and plays. Can't they dictate that and go, well, all right, that's not as bad of a hip drop as another one?
Do you think the Raiders instance was maybe the fact that the very next day they've come out and said, we made a mistake with Carrigan. That news then filters to the refs reffing the games further into the weekend.
I have no doubt it makes a difference. We see what happens in the early games in a round affect how decisions are made in the later games in the round. I think that happens in the AFL as well. But NRL, it seems to be a lot worse. And that's really frustrating. But I think the point that you were making earlier is it's the impact that has on a game. So players off for 10 minutes, you go from down to 12 men. Games are being decided by those decisions. Like you said, mistakes can happen. Refs are going to make mistakes. We need referees. We need umpires in sport. They make mistakes. That's okay. Players do as well.
Yep.
It's the impact that has on the game and on the result that makes it really frustrating for the fan and for the spectators.
And it's exacerbated since the new rulings come in with the 6 to go, six again rule.
Yeah.
Like it's 5 years ago, if the scrum was packed after a mistake or a penalty, penalty stop, what do you want to do? There's none of that. So 10 minutes of play now compared to 10 minutes of play a few years ago.
It's more 10 minutes in play than it was before.
Yeah, it might be 50% more football.
You can't kick it out and soak up a bit of time anymore. It's kick it out, play the ball, move on kind of thing. We'll go back to your example there of 5 years ago, 10 minutes in the bin, 10 minutes of play wasn't as much as it is now. What's the solution? Is it reducing it to a 5 minute sin bin? Is it changing the rule, which I think I might have brought up in our chat the other day about ice hockey? It has the same rules where, you go to the bin for 2 minutes, but if they score a try, straight back on.
Yeah, so in this instance, if they scored a try, the player would be allowed to come back on.
Yeah.
It's an idea that's got merit.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's right, who knows, but it's worth considering because the impact of 10 minutes off the field is far too great at the moment.
The 5 minute sin bin is before our time of watching league.
Yeah.
But why... Inherently, why can't they go back to something like it's so simple to change a rule like that when people are going, this is such a huge penalty. And then you're probably more inclined to put people in the bin and it's not as big of a penalty to go, back chat, 5 in the bin, because at the moment you can get away with a bit of back chat and the ref goes, hey, I'm not going to cop that anymore. 10 minutes is too much to put someone in the bin for that.
Fair.
But 5 minutes you can justify going, I'm not copping this. You're gone.
What I don't agree with is the idea of having a 5 and a 10 minute sin bin.
Yeah, I agree.
Because what constitutes a 5 minute sin bin versus a 10 minute sin bin versus send off? It should be just one or the other.
Yeah.
A 5 minute one, a less effect on a game. You look at the Cowboys Dragons game. Theoretically they score 1 try in that 5 minutes, not 3 in the 10 minutes. So. Is the impact on the game less? Well, I think so.
What about a power play where you basically one man goes off, or you just get an infinite set of tackles at him or something like that?
Something's got to be done.
Yeah. I guess if you went for the rule where the next try resets and you get your 13 back on the paddock, even if there's still, even if they get 1 try, but it's at the back end of the 10 minutes, you're still, the extra effort that team's having to defend for those 10 minutes is quite substantial. To me, I feel like the 5 minute is the best, but I think they both have merit.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are, like, it's consistently multiple tries getting scored in these 10 minutes. I know the Broncos have won a couple of games on the back of having 10 in the bin.
It swings and roundabouts.
Well,
and
I think their round 2 win against the Cowboys
Yeah.
was decided
That's right.
by sin bins. I think there was Drinkwater and there was another player I just can't remember. Was it Nanoi? Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. But they those 2 periods swung the momentum of the game, and the Broncos took the win. Yeah.
And it's not that like Drinkwaters was definitely worth the 10 minutes, but once again, I think the rule 5 minutes or just the single try.
I think that's where our outrage today comes from. Is they were 2 incorrect calls.
Yeah.
So, 10 minutes in the bin for an act of foul play or for repeated infringements. You can you go, well, fair enough. You've made the mistake. You've got to pay the crime for it. But to have 2 incorrect instances going to the bin. The other thing about the hip drop that I wanted to touch on was I don't think anyone in the NRL knows exactly what a hip drop is.
Yeah.
The referees don't know.
Didn't they just bring out a video?
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch
It sounded like someone was in witness protection who was narrating it. I'm telling you, check it out.
Yeah.
Put a link in the.
Apparently, it's quite substantial.
It was 2 minutes. It
2
wasn't,
minutes.
It wasn't much at all. They went, here's what a hip drop is, not here's what a hip drop isn't. But like the Carrigan one, okay, you penalised on field, 10 in the bin, escape suspension. So the ref, well, it's not actually the ref because he misses it. So the bunker thinks that is a reportable offence and it's worthy of a suspension. So he's getting penalised and going to the bin. So that's the bunker telling the referee that. The match review committee says, no, the bunker's wrong on that. All right, go back. Once again, I'm talking about the Broncos again, but you go back to Payne Haas against the Eels.
Yep.
They look at that and go, that's not worthy of
A penalty. Yep.
And then he gets a week off for it.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of people, how are we supposed to know what a hip drop is or what's a reportable?
I'm interested to know how they put that together. As a theory, what they're trying to do is rule out an act of foul play or an act that contributes to a lot of injuries, and that's fine.
Yep.
It's the same as they got rid of head-high tackles all the
Chicken
other
wings
chicken
and-
wings and crusher tackles and cannonballs and all that sort of stuff. That's fine. A penalty is a severe punishment in a game.
Yep.
If the tackle's really an act of foul play, then like a really bad head high, it should be a send-off offence anyway.
Yep.
Otherwise, penalty sufficient. You get a great advantage from a penalty, and then let the match review committee decide how bad that is.
But
Which
that's
is
the
how
other-
it's been for
exactly.
years.
But that's the way it seems with these hip drops as well. Is it seems as though, okay, you've done a hip drop in the bin.
Yeah.
There's no level of hip drops.
Yeah.
You can have the worst hip drop there in the bin, or the one that Carrigan does and just grazes him as he comes down. You go, well, that's in the bin too. Like head highs, it's easy to catch someone high accidentally, and we accept that wasn't so bad. Penalty, move on.
Yeah.
You get
Or
the
if
big
it's
swinging
really
arm,
bad,
you go, well, there's a send off.
Yeah.
You can gauge that
That's
yourself
right.
as a viewer, which I think you can do as a hip drop as well. There was one, I think was it the Dragons game? Did someone get sin binned at the end of the Dragons game?
against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Or he might have got put on report. But I watched it live and went, there's a hip drop in that.
Right.
And a few plays later, it went back, you're on report. No penalty or anything like that.
Yep.
But you can see it as a viewer, what's a hip drop and or what you think is a hip drop and what's not. So it's interesting times anyway.
It is. But yeah, it makes a big difference to a game. Let's stop deciding the outcomes of games through a referee's decision. That's all.
And in all honesty, from my perspective, it's not just the inconsistent calls. To me, I just think the 10 minutes in the style of football that they've now created with the 6 again, I just think 10 minutes is just too long and it's changing games.
Yeah.
And for me, they need to fix that soon, because if games are decided in a period but the rest of the game is quite even, it just doesn't make sense.
Particularly big games. I mean, we're about to go into an Origin period. Imagine seeing an Origin game decided by a player getting 10 in the bin for what is maybe a hip drop tackle.
But the point you made is great about the style of footy is changing. And it's not just the fact that there is more footy happening within the 80 minutes. There are more sin bins. Like, you go back 5 years and they just didn't use the sin bin as much. And then people went, we need to use the sin bin
Yeah.
more. And now they just use
Remember
it.
Magic Round a couple of years ago where they just went mad that one weekend and players were getting sent
It's like
off
you got a
and
shiny
said,
new toy and went, what's this?
We
Sin
better
bin
focus
can
on
use?
that all of a sudden.
It really should just be blatant.
Acts of foul play.
Yeah.
Or professional fouls.
Yeah.
Professional fouls, yeah.
And they're both incidences. One's what they're calling a professional foul from a break, where you can clearly see he's just tangled up in it, and the other one's meant to be an active foul play, which we all agree wasn't. So let's move on from that before we get too heated and start getting each other in headlocks and whatnot.
At least we agreed.
We do agree, yes. We're all smart. Few sports getting towards the very, very pointy end of the season. Once again, I'm enjoying my NHL lately. I said I wasn't going to watch anymore, but I've been watching, man. I've been following it. I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm at work. I'm listening to it. Really hard sport to listen to because you takes a shot. Bobrovsky. Then it goes to a 25-minute ad break or something like that. So I'm up to date with all of the ESPN ads and all those bits and pieces. But the Panthers, hat theory. Woohoo!
Man, I've got on the Panthers bandwagon.
How can you not?
It's funny, Timmy Zeeth, who's in the competition and loves the Sports Whisperer, he was on the Maple Leafs.
Yep.
So the Panthers, if you missed the last episode, the Panthers knocked off the Boston Bruins, who were just broken the all-time season record.
Yeah, that's shit.
Yeah. And then Maple Leafs, who were the second favourite in the comp,
Also shit.
they got trounced. Wasn't it 4-1?
Yeah.
4-1.
Wow.
And anyway, he was every game. He was just ropeable because he has the Maple Leafs. And the last game, he had two teams left, and he put on a multi on the two against him.
Yep.
And he won that.
Okay.
So his two teams got knocked out
Yep.
of the two relevant, I think, NBA.
Yeah.
And he cleaned up
Oh,
on the
right.
back of the
Well,
Panthers.
at least he got something out of it. But I was saying to Holsh, like the last run that the Panthers made, 96, I think the key is that I take an interest in them either by having a hat in 95, 96 or now with the Sports Whisperer. That's what's getting them home.
you're saying
I'm the catalyst.
Okay.
This could be a dynasty.
It could. Well, if I keep having interest in it, who knows what could happen.
This is just an early prediction for next year. Keep an ear out.
I'm on him.
Keep an ear out. It'll be our next year hat. Two of them. So the Panthers obviously got through there, taking on the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Division Conference Final. And then the other match, we've got the Dallas Stars versus the Vegas Golden Knights. And they're in their second season,
I think it's
they?
third.
Okay.
Third or fourth.
They're very early doors for them to be
But
making it to
I just
the-
think it's cool. There's a Vegas team.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Golden Knights, and the logo looks cool. It's a pretty
does.
cool looking
Everything's
team.
cool.
But they'll probably, I don't know if they'll make it, but whatever, the Panthers will beat them. Because the Panthers are also, they are outsiders in this. They've been the outsiders,
All the way
outsiders.
through.
They're still the outsiders.
Right.
So no one's given them a chance, but they don't know.
Apparently they're
they don't
selling-
know Ryan Boccolati's on the other side of the world.
Apparently they're selling record numbers of caps.
Okay. Well, they need to get the vintage model out, and I'll buy that.
Retro
hat round. They got rally towels over there. They need a retro hat round. Holsh, you mentioned as well the NBA getting towards its pointy end as well, down to the semi-finals.
Yeah, so I picked the Nuggets. They knocked out my beloved Suns.
I was talking to you about this. I said, what do you want more? Is the Sports Whisperer
No,
more important?
no, I want-
And of course you said the Sports Whisperer is more important than your actual team getting through.
Yeah, no. So Nuggets are playing
Bitter
the
team.
Lakers, and as mentioned last week, Jimmy Geiger, only person that's tipped the Lakers, and they're looking good.
Yeah.
They're looking red hot.
Well, guaranteed points now too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. He's triple, so he's at least 9.
Wow.
So who knows? It could be a 30-point swing for him. But in the other one, the dirty Boston Celtics.
Our boys.
Yeah, both these lads have the Celtics still. They're playing Jimmy Butler in the Heat.
Is that a band from the 70s?
I think on the sports bet, etc., they're 3% chance of beating the Celtics.
Wow.
But, they just went to the 7th game as well.
They did.
It wasn't a shoe-in for them
No,
either.
no.
So,
Yeah, well, they've been underdogs pretty much the whole
So
way
have
as well.
Who, the
these
Celtics?
No, yeah.
have these series kicked off yet, or are they about to
No,
kick off
I
tomorrow?
think the first game, Nuggets-Lakers tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm taking, obviously I want the Nuggets to win for this, but I just hate the Lakers, as you know, as well.
Yeah.
So,
We love
Jimmy.
the Celtics.
Come on, Celtics.
Jimmy Butler in the Heat.
Need
I
that
love
10
that.
points.
That's really cool. Is it Jimmy
I
Butler?
really hope we do have Nuggets versus Celtics
Yeah,
in the
that'd be
finals
good. Yeah,
for,
that'd be
the,
good.
for the pod.
That's why we got rid of Goldie. He was on the Grizzlies. They were out a long time ago. All right, a few big tips coming up as well.
Yes.
We're going to start off with the French Open.
Okay.
So something, I know, Schembri, you were really intently analysing and researching.
Oh, that's right. I've got to get a tip in, yeah.
Holsh, you've also done a lot of research into this.
Yeah, of course. Well, French Open's my specialty anyway. I sort of followed most of the clay tennis during the year. So, yeah, you got to have your finger on the pulse.
my home, it's got a lot of clay dirt, so I've got a bit of skin in the game, as it were,
So,
as well.
but the important question is,
yes.
Are you playing Scrabble theory again?
Yes, I am. Well, I'm moving slightly away from Scrabble
Okay.
theory, so I'll give my tip first.
Okay.
I've looked at Scrabble theory, and Djokovic still is the winner in Scrabble terms. Just wasn't vibing him this time.
Right.
Clay's not really his thing. I'm going for someone with a Z in their name.
Right.
You know, that's the best tile you can get basically in Scrabble, 10 points. So I've gone with Carlos Alcaraz.
Right.
And that's one of my theories. The other one was I was sick yesterday. I was at home and I watched the Clint Eastwood movie from 1979, Escape from Alcatraz. Okay. And I thought, a bit of rhyming there. Alcatraz, Escape from Alcaraz. So I don't know who you guys are going to pick, but they won't be able to escape from Alcaraz.
Escape Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, that doesn't have the same ring to it.
No. Was it a good movie?
Great movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched that.
One of the best.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do our men's tips
men's
first?
only?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to go or me?
No, you go.
Okay, so for the men's, I've actually picked someone that Craig Robinson, who is well known amongst sports whisperer
Yes.
circles as the first person to ever get a donut. He actually, whilst he got knocked out earlier there, he picked Yannick Sinner from Italy, and I actually watched a few of his matches in the Australian Open. And he can move around. I was like, he's way better than my guy that I had. I said, well, why didn't I pick this guy? And anyway, he's tearing it up on the clay. I think he's ranked like 5th or 6th in clay around the world, but he's one of these guys that's going up. He's at his highest world ranking at the moment, number 8. So I'm gonna cheer him on, the Italian.
And he's one of the bad boys of tennis, isn't he?
I have no idea, mate.
Well, he's certainly not a saint.
Sounds like it.
That's not bad at all.
Well done. So my tip.
Yes.
So in all my minutes of hard research before we started
So
tonight,
you got some catching up to do. So this will be a long shot.
I put a lot of work into my golf tip, which we'll talk about.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
tennis, I can't say that I did. I went with my same tips that I did for the Australian Open. And I went with the Whisperer's greatest enemy of the pod.
Yep.
Novak Djokovic.
The Joker. Yes, very well. It's a pretty astute.
Yeah. He's in ominous form. Like I just read before, he's basically everyone's getting wiped off the court by him over there.
Yep. Well, to the surprise of absolutely no one. I've heard he's got some injuries though coming. So be careful. You know.
That's okay.
No, he'll get the injury around Friday.
Yeah.
I think that was the same as the Australian Open, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Johnny Chandler says it's his MO. So yeah, looking forward to that. It's at a really unusual time though, isn't it, for us to actually catch that live? So
I think the games do start. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Must be around 7, 8 o'clock at night or something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure.
which is, well, I guess
they don't play night games.
Oh, okay,
they're all
yeah.
day. So
right.
yeah,
I was going to say that can't be the same as us because
Yeah.
do they play night games?
I don't know. I would have thought they did, but that's an interesting question.
yes,
I'm
well,
second guessing.
let's explore that later on a different pod. We'll find out.
Hard research.
Yes,
When you get to my clay tennis pod.
all right, the ladies. So you've gone the same tip.
So safe bet. Who I
Yep.
went for the Australian tip, and I've gone old IGA Sweartech.
The supermarket.
IGA,
Yes.
IGA, whatever we
Yep.
call it. Why? Because I went her for the Australian tournament.
Well,
and
it's
I'll
as sound of theory as
jump
any.
on again.
Well, she did
Or
win
you've
it.
done no research.
That's right.
I did some research at the Australian
Told
Open.
you, it was minutes
It's
of hard
carryovers.
work.
Yes.
She did win it last year, though.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh,
And that.
box seat.
And that. Holsh, who have you gone?
Okay, I've gone Ons Jabeur. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Sounds
What do
very
you think?
French.
You read that. What do you think?
Ons Jabeur.
Ons Jabeur. Yeah.
Jabeur.
So she's
Soup
number
de
4
jour.
in the world. I forget what country she's from, but it's an
Sounds
African
French.
country.
Sounds
I
French
think it's an
to me.
African
Does
country.
sound
But they do. A lot of the African countries have French speaking.
So she looks like a bit of a weapon.
Yep.
And she's another one that's sort of making a lot of waves at the moment and in a bit of good form. So I need to have double pointers. So I can't pick the supermarket because the supermarket is obviously
It's closed for you, yeah.
Yeah, it's closed. So yeah, I'm going to go on Schembri. Both my tips are on the back of just some recent form, and obviously I just don't want to pick rank 20 plus anymore because that's what I did at the Australian Open, and that failed miserably.
So you're going somewhere in the top middle, somewhere.
In the number 8 and number 4.
All right, I've gone once again. I'm going with anagram theory for the ladies tennis, which didn't work out last time. I had Sloane Stephens, and as you recall, the anagram was she steals opens, N. There was leftover N. So this time I've gone with Helena, whatever, Ostapenko. The anagram of her name is eat jalapenos, okay? And guess what? There's an extra N. Now, I whipped this up just over there about 10 minutes ago. Yeah. I saw her name and I thought, oh, it looks like jalapenos is in there. And then I kind of mucked around and went, oh, eat jalapenos. Okay, I do like a bit of
jalapenos?
Spice. Yeah. Okay. And it's okay. It's okay.
Wow.
N.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
So, is she good?
Yeah, you bet. She's hot. She's spicy.
Okay.
She's got it. She's
Okay.
crunchy. Okay.
So, but tips for the French Open are due in...
Sunday night.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sunday night for that, and we're about to move on the USPGA, which is due tomorrow. Well, we're doing this on Tuesday, so this
Make
will
sure
probably
you've
be
got your tips
Yeah,
in.
I hope you put your tips
And we
in.
did that on purpose, didn't we? Because
That's right.
you said you've got a really good tip that you don't know one to
So
steal.
I put my research into the golf, and I'm very confident with my tip.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that none of our
Yeah.
listeners
Yeah.
are hearing this, so they don't steal the triple points that I'm going to get off him. Ooh.
Well, how about we listen to it right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
you go first.
Yeah,
Right.
good idea.
So, USPGA, great major tournament of
Yep.
the year. Really looking forward to it. There's a couple of, look at the odds. There's a couple of favourites that are in great form. We saw John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler at the Masters play very well. Brooks Koepka played really well as well, but then faded in the last round. But I've gone for a player that's a little bit outside the top few, but has performed really well this year consistently, and is a player that's sort of been coming through the ranks, but really starting to realise his capabilities. Max Homa. He's a quiet one. It was
Me
so
too.
he
You got him too.
I was thinking about saving him for the US Open, but no, I'm going all out. It's on the
Was
PGA.
yours because of The Simpsons?
So Max Homa, mark my word.
What
Celebrating
country is he
next week.
from?
He's from America.
Okay.
And like I said, I was actually more thinking about him for the US Open, which is the next. I think it's the next one. But no, I'm decided. I'm sticking to
Okay.
it. To
Now's the
PGA.
time.
So is
Max
he
Homa.
young?
He's a young fella. He's been in good form this year, but yeah, like I said, he's just a player that's been there or thereabouts, but he's just really starting to realise his capability. And I hope for him he goes well because he seems like a good golfer. He gets on with it, plays well, pretty consistent across all forms. So
Before we get on to ticks and my tips, the USPGA, so it's played at a different course
yes.
each year, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So out of all the Opens, how many are like that? Because Augusta's obviously the same every year.
I think 3 of the 4 are. So the only one that plays at the same course every year is the Masters at Augusta.
Right.
So the British Open plays at different courses, and as well as the USPGA and the US Open. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you can't really tip someone on form at a particular course so
When
much.
it changes
not
so much.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get into really deep and look at what style of course this is, and
like I did.
Yep, exactly, which we're about to hear about. But
Because
yeah,
Max Homa, he's 34 to 1
He
to win it.
is.
So he's kind of just outside that little...
he's outside the bracket.
But once again, golf's hard to pick.
It
There's
is.
no favourite
It
that's going to
is.
be $2 because
Well, I mean-
it's a 72-hole tournament.
Yeah.
A lot can go wrong. Have you ever played golf? Because a lot can go wrong in one hole for people of our calibre, let alone...
It's a great point you make, and we see that in the favourite. John Rahm was dominant at the Masters, and he's had a really good year, yet he's the favourite at $8.50, which suggests it's a very open field.
Yeah.
So that's why I've sort of looked outside that area, hoping for a few extra points.
Yeah, right. That's good. Holshi, who have you gone?
Okay, So I've gone with
Max Homer.
yeah.
Is that ink fresh?
He's this young up and comer, US. I've gone with an Aussie.
Yeah.
But I didn't go with our boy Smithy
Ken
this
Smith.
time. No,
Okay.
I've gone Jason Day.
Hey.
Now, last week he played in Dallas and he hit 23 under, 9 under in the last round. So he's zinging along. He won the USPGA in 2015, and he's also last time that the USPGA was played at this course, he tied 8th, but very close to the lead. So he knows the course and he plays well on it. So I'm going to go for him. One thing that I did read, and which is quite interesting with this course, is they've refurbished, but they've taken out some trees, and apparently it's quite nasty bunkers and that. But one of the characteristics of it has got basically a number of square greens.
Yeah, right.
So
Does that change the way they?
Well, apparently
play?
it does. The way that they approach greens, etc., it's a little bit different. So
Is it just a warped mindset, or is it
I really don't know, but
Okay.
it says some golfers prefer that style compared to others. So I don't know, but
metronomic ones with like the squareness? I
Well,
think.
Jason Day's in good form. He had his first tournament win on the weekend for it was a number of years. It's been a long time, but yeah, recent form suggests he's in good touch because he won on the weekend.
yeah.
All right. Well, I've gone, had a bit of look into this as well, as I do. I'm a pretty heavy researcher myself. What I noticed was the last time a non-American took the title was 2014. So that leads you straight into the Americans. You know what I mean? You kind of get rid of all the idea of anyone international winning it. It's been a long time. You might say that, Jew. Wrong. So then I look at the names, and which names do I like the best?
Okay.
Now, the best name in the field is 1,000 to 1. Kenny Pigman. Kenny Pigman. How good of a name is that? But I'm not going to pick Kenny Pigman.
Okay.
I'm going to pick someone, yes, he is one of the favourites, but he is my favourite name to say. Ever since I watched the Masters last year, every time golf's on, I just walk around the house. The kids will attest to this. And I'm just saying, Scotty Scheffler. Scotty
As soon as
Scheffler.
you said this, I realised who you were going to say. Scotty Scheffler.
I love saying Scotty Scheffler. So even at the Masters recently,
Yes.
I was backing Scotty Scheffler, and I'm Scotty Scheffler again.
Okay.
Got to go with Scotty Scheffler. It sounds good, doesn't it?
He's a
But
good-
Kenny Pigman does sound a lot better. But he's too far of odds out.
Scotty's up in the favourites for a reason. He's a very good golfer.
he's finished in the top 10 in 7 of the last 10 majors. So, you know, he's thereabouts, and
But maximum of 10 points there.
yeah,
No,
nice.
30.
That's right.
Maximum of Homer.
Max Power. I mean, Max Homer.
I saw it on a dryer. Alrighty, so that concludes the pure sportness of.
Can I just mention-
No, you can't.
The Queensland Reds knocked off
The
well,
Chiefs.
our
yeah,
Chiefs.
yeah. That's
The
why I don't
Chiefs.
want to talk about it. It's a bit raw.
But they haven't won in New Zealand in a decade.
Yes.
And they just knocked, to have their first win there, and it's against the undefeated Waikato
Chiefs. Yeah.
I just want to
Crazy.
give them a shout out. I think
Well
that was
done.
awesome.
Good on you,
And
fellas.
the winning penalty goal was kicked by Michael Liner's son. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
If I knew who that was, I'd be impressed.
A great wallaby.
All right, we're moving into the first. It's been delayed a few times and this, that, the other. The first of our movie pools. So we're going down the path, a little rabbit hole of the best sporting comedies of all time. And we've lumped them into a few different pools. So the last episode, we mentioned the first pool, which consisted of Major League, Mean Machine, Talladega Nights, and Cracker Jacks. So before we release the poll results, let's rank out, of those movies. Where do you put them? 1 to 4.
1 to 4. Oh, okay. I'd only just picked my winner, but
Okay.
I'll make it up on the run.
Yeah.
No, my favourite out of that list is Talladega Nights.
Okay.
Followed by Cracker Jack. I'd probably have Major League in third and Mean Machine last.
Right, okay. Holshy?
Yep. So for me, I actually went back and watched Talladega Nights, and I realised it has some very funny parts, like some of the all-time classic quotes. But there's a lot of it I was like, I'm not really laughing as much as I remember in this. I've gone Major League
Okay.
which for me was an all-time classic as a kid. Then Talladega, Crackerjack, and I haven't seen Mean Machine, so it's last.
That's why I put it last as well. I was hoping to get away with that.
It wasn't on streaming. I really wanted to watch it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Unless it's on a streaming service that you've got, it's a bit hard to watch them. I did watch Talladega Nights as well. I didn't love it. It had funnier moments in it than I thought than Crackerjack, which I also watched. I liked Crackerjack more as a movie overall. I just enjoyed the whole storyline of it. A lot of nostalgia in there as well. It starts off with Cigarettes Will Kill You by Ben Lee.
Yes.
And there was something about him, it's in Melbourne, it's set in Melbourne, he's driving through the streets, that's on, he's cracking a VB, and I just went, this takes me back to somewhere I've never been. And then at the end of the movie, I went, it also had Reckless by Australian Crawlers, and I went, this soundtrack is great, I'm going to look it up. There's only 2 songs in there, it's those 2. Talladega Nights was my second one. Like I said, I watched it. Sacha Baron Cohen's character I didn't love.
Yeah, I agree
He was
with
a
that.
bit too something for me. The Frenchness, the lisp, it just didn't really do it for me. Mean Machine was my third, and like you guys, Major League was my fourth because I haven't seen it. So,
Yeah, okay. That's fair enough.
as far as the viewers' poll is concerned, we had Mean Machine, an almost insignificant amount of the pie. We had Crackerjack with 22.2% of the votes. Talladega Nights, 36.1%, but the winner was Major League with 38.9%.
That's a bit of a boil over, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I think when you look at that initially, everyone went Talladega Nights was going to be the winner of it.
Yeah. Shows you the demographic of our listeners.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Something else interesting I've done is I've gone through and ranked the major actors based on their sporting ability. So I'm going to go from 8 through to 1 on this. So John C. Reilly from Talladega Nights, he acted in sports movies, so he's coming in last. Sacha Baron Cohen, he did some breakdancing, which is, I guess, somewhat athletic, so he's coming in at 7th. Mick Malloy doesn't look like an athlete, very knowledgeable in sports, so he'd be good at a pub trivia night. I don't know if that really ranks him as a sporting aficionado, but I reckon he could bowl a bit of leg spin, so I'm putting him at 6th. Charlie Sheen, he was a star shortstop and pitcher in high school, but he wouldn't pass any drug tests, so he's at 5. Will Farrell, he was a kicker in the football team at high school, captain of the basketball team. He's a bit of a sports nut. He's coming in at 4th. Wesley Snipes, a 5th degree black belt in karate.
Wow.
He's trained in capoeira, so he's coming in at 3rd. Who's going to beat him? Well, the lead star of Mean Machine is Vinnie Jones. He played professional football or soccer as a defensive midfielder. He played for Wimbledon, Leeds United, Sheffield United, Chelsea, and he also played and captained the Welsh national team.
Wow.
So he was a bit of a star. Well, who will beat him? Here's an interesting one. From Crackerjack, Bill Hunter. You know Bill Hunter, the great Bill Hunter? He was a champion swimmer who briefly held the 100-yard freestyle record. For 10 minutes, the very next heat, someone beat him. And he qualified for the 1956 Olympics team.
Wow.
But a bout of meningitis.
So when you say he has the 100-yard free world record,
I believe so, yeah.
wow.
So
Okay, well, I can't picture him right now, but I'll have him right here.
he's an absolute great. And he was one of the big stars in Crackerjack as well. So moving on to Pool B, we've got... I think when you put it up, there's a few comments there about this is basically a fait accompli. It's stop the match. It's going to be a walkover. The field is Goon, which is an ice hockey movie with Sean William Scott. Bend It Like Beckham has Keira Knightley in it. White Man Can't Jump with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, and Happy Gilmore. I'll start at the top. No surprises there. Who's won that one? Happy Gilmore taking out 72% of the vote, followed by 12.5% from White Man Can't Jump, and 9% voting Goon, and the rest, I suppose, Bend It Like Beckham. So, seen those ones, fellas?
No.
Any of them?
Well, Happy Gilmore,
Of course,
obviously.
yep. I reckon I would have seen White Man Can't Jump at some stage, but not in living memory.
No.
Goon I've never heard of
No.
until it came up here. And I reckon I might have seen Bend It Like Beckham at some stage as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
I haven't.
All right,
I did vote for White Men Can't Jump. Once again, I am a Woody Harrelson fanatic.
Okay, well, Woody Harrelson, he's a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's coming in at 6. Now, the two girls from Bend It Like Beckham, Keira Knightley's greatest sporting accomplishment was she was in a movie about soccer.
Right.
Paminda Nagra, she was one of the bearers of the Olympic torch in 2003. She's one of the stars in Bend It Like Beckham. She did not like soccer, but she liked acting and money, I suppose.
Well.
Woody Harrelson, he likes chess. He's in at 6. Sean William Scott was part of varsity football and basketball teams in high school, but I mean, we all played sport at high school. I don't even know why it's on his IMDb. Christopher McDonald from Happy Gilmore. He was in Source or whatever. Same thing. Played stuff at school.
So which one's Christopher McDonald?
He's Shooter McGavin.
Right.
Adam Sandler's a basketball fanatic.
Yep.
He's played his whole life. It doesn't mean that he's good at it, but he's played his whole life, and he's obviously made a few movies now about basketball as well, so he's a bit of a nut. Wesley Snipes, he's in, obviously, White Man Can't Jump. We know about his skills with the black belt, so he still can't get the number 1 spot, which goes to Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Former professional NFL player for the Oakland Raiders. He played 8 games, but still, he got to the top.
And he was a linebacker. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, that's a pretty physical
Yeah.
player. I would have thought he might have been more like a wide receiver.
Yeah, right. I had no thoughts about what he was like.
Yeah. He's a weapon in the Rocky series.
All I know is, so we've got obviously, what was the first movie?
Major League.
Major League going through.
Yep.
And Happy Gilmore going through. And boy, Happy Gilmore's going to be hard to beat, I reckon.
Well, I don't know. Like White Men Can't Jump, I thought I had it.
Yeah, well, it's gone, so no chance.
So you want me to announce Pool C, which we'll put up tomorrow?
Okay.
Would you?
Yes.
I would
Well,
too.
actually, I'll put it up on Thursday after we release the pod. First.
All right, good idea, yes.
Okay, so Pool C is Bring It On, which is cheerleading.
That's one of
I
your
think-
big ones as well, isn't it?
I think Kirsten Dunst is in that
Okay.
one. I've got another Will Ferrell. Blades of Glory,
Not my favourite.
No.
synchronized ice skating, The Replacements,
Keanu Reeves.
Yep,
Right.
American footy,
Not seen it.
and Cool
Oh.
Runnings.
Yeah, okay.
Bobsledding. So it's. I guess there's definitely some big mix of different types of comedy.
Well, yeah, and different types of sports and other bits and pieces as well. You wouldn't see too many movies about those. Synchronised ice skating, bobsledding, cheerleading. They've got to be pretty niche, I suppose, in that world. American football, obviously, is going to be one that comes up a fair bit.
Do you think American football would be the most used sport in movies, or do you think baseball?
I think baseball.
I reckon it's down to those two.
Yeah.
There's a lot I can think of in those
Baseball.
two.
Not just comedy, just all round.
Well, sports in just
yeah,
general.
okay, yeah. Baseball lends itself to it, I think.
There are a lot of American football movies, but
Yeah. I'll come
Particularly
back
when we
next
look in
week.
the-
I'll have a look
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
major, like, they have to be major ones, not like Tick's shitty acting or something.
Put one of them up too.
one of them right here, please.
All right, so don't forget to get your tips in for, the PGA's already passed by the time this has come out, but you can look at it and think about who you would have tipped and then
I
cry
wish I tipped Max Homer.
cry into your Wheat Bix as Max Homer comes home.
I might even say, like, everyone that missed their tips, they just get Max Homer.
I think so too, because he's so. I think everyone. How about this? Everyone who
No,
doesn't
they
get
should
a
get
tip.
Pigman.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
It's done.
It's done.
Man.
That would be something. Because what will end up happening is they'll have more than the amount of triple points as well. So if he actually won, it'd be the greatest story, and you only get 10 points.
We've just ruined someone's dream who's gone chasing triple points. Sorry.
So yeah, obviously get your tips in as well for the French Open. You can do a bit more research. Just watch this. I think you might watch this. You'll get everything you need to know out of it. Anything else?
No, that's all from me.
That's us.
That's
all
all.
right, beautiful. All right, remember, keep tipping, keep drinking. Pew pew.